Thanks for joining us. I'm Larry Miller, and you're watching my interview with West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey right here on WUSA9+. So let's get you up to speed. On Wednesday, 2 members of the West Virginia National Guard who were stationed here in the district were shot by an Afghan national, according to police, who drove all the way from Washington State. Those 2 National Guard soldiers, 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom and 24-year-old Andrew Wolf, were the 2 that were shot. And on Thursday night, we learned that Sarah Beckstrom lost her life. Andrew Wolf remains in the hospital as of this broadcast in critical condition. Here's my interview with Governor Morrisey. Well, joining us tonight is the governor of West Virginia, Governor Patrick Morrisey. Governor Morrisey, thanks so much for being here with us tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It's a really difficult time, so I appreciate being here with you.
Yeah, let's talk about the big breaking news this evening, which is that one of the National Guard members from your state, U.S. Army Specialist Sarah Beckstrom, has passed away.
She has, and this is just horrific news. We know that West Virginians have been praying for Sarah, and people were really pulling together because from all accounts, she was just this amazing, courageous young woman, cared a lot, had a big sense of duty to the state and to the United States of America. So I think our hearts go out to the family and to everyone in the unit. These people in the unit loved her, and it's horrible. And I want to make sure that this terrible act of violence is going to get addressed, and we have to have accountability.
Can you walk us through sort of the final moments? You saw the family several times over the last 24 hours. Walk us through the conversations that you had. I can imagine that they were tough.
Listen, I want to show great respect for the parents because this is their news, and I just want to say that we want to pray for them, and they've been through a lot. I mean, this is their daughter, and I'm going to show respect for them. I will say, though, that who could imagine what could possibly happen with this hit that was put on them? And I think people are so upset about what this guy did. It's outrageous. I know the president used a lot of words, and the president's rightfully angry. All West Virginians, all Americans are absolutely devastated by what he did, but they're also looking to how the heck does someone like this get in a position to then carry this kind of act out? I think that's part of what you're hearing. And so I know that the parents and the family and the folks in the Guard are devastated tonight, but it's also a sense that justice needs to be served.
Yeah, police have arrested a 29-year-old suspect that they have charged, and we expect the judicial process to move forward as it typically does in these cases.
Sure.
I do want to get to the fact that you have about 300 to 400 National Guard members that are still stationed here in D.C. Given the circumstances that we've seen over the last 24 hours, are you comfortable having these National Guard members continuing to stay in the city at this point?
Yeah, a couple things. First, those numbers were coming down because people had been sent back home over a period of time. So based upon the counts I've been told, we have between 160 and 170 people here. But very important for everyone watching tonight, every single one of the people here in the city literally volunteered for the mission. So these are people that care very deeply about the mission. They saw the mission successful in terms of keeping the city and the state and the national capital safe, and so they volunteered. So these are people that want to serve their country, and so they volunteered. This wasn't any person trying to force or push them to do it. So I am very comfortable with that, and obviously there's going to be a lot of discussion about what happens with the Guard going forward. Right now my focus is on the family. It's on making sure that West Virginians are grieving for this terrible act of violence that occurred.
And I want to get back to that point of the National Guard troops still being here because a federal judge just ruled recently that the Trump administration had sort of overreached in its position of sending National Guard troops here to Washington. Given that decision from the judge, though the order for their removal is still on hold for 21 days, do you believe that members of the National Guard should remain here in Washington? Well,
look, we had a case in West Virginia, and the decision to have the Guard was upheld, and we think that this is not a correct decision that came out and would very likely be reversed going forward. So I think that the big issue right now is that I think the president has identified that he wanted to clean up crime in the city. I think that the mission over the last 6 months has to make meaningful progress to do that. They've been achieving that mission. So that's the positive thing. And people in the district and across the country know this has been very, very positive. But I will say this, I have the greatest respect for all the guardsmen who stepped up because they are volunteering. They wanted to see the mission through. These are people that volunteered to be here, and when I see that kind of spirit, it means a lot, and it reinforces why they came here in the first place.
Just a point of clarification, the case that you're referencing, the one in which that was dealt in your state, was
Right.
a case that dealt specifically about whether or not you had overstepped your authority about bringing members of the National Guard here, but not the president's authority. So that's an important distinction to make. So we have these members of the National Guard here.
At the same time, I would say that this is at a district court level, and I think that if you look through, you will likely see a reversal. This is not a very strong opinion that came out of the district court in Washington, D.C., and I think you're going to see that change. And you do see that from time to time with some of the judges who issue opinions that they get reversed going on. So I don't think this is a very difficult question, and it's most certainly going to be changed going forward.
This case is a little bit different, though, when we think about the circumstances of this incident. This wasn't someone from our neighborhood. This isn't someone that lives in this area that carried out this heinous act. This is someone from another state, allegedly, according to authorities. That certainly changes the circumstances. Now, given that, are you still comfortable having members of your National Guard here in D.C.?
Listen, I think we cannot run away from the evildoers and the terrorists. We have to stand up to them and say we are not going to accept your violence and your terrorism, and we're going to make sure that we seek justice whenever these crazy people come in and they try to carry out their ideology. So I want to tell everyone who's in the Guard, either West Virginia or across the country, we want to stand with you, that you're doing noble things, you're supporting your country, and we're never, ever going to let these people intimidate us into doing the wrong thing or cowering in the face of this absolutely ridiculous and tragic acts.
If the president asks for more troops from West Virginia, will you send them?
Look, we have troops. We've been volunteering, and I can tell you that I talked with the president last night, and we talked for a while. He is absolutely outraged at what happened to our troops. I think right now we're focusing on those in West Virginia who are really grieving for these people. So we're not going to speculate as to what will happen in the future. I will tell you, though, it means a lot to me that the people have stepped forward, volunteered for this mission. I think that's critical.
Right, calling this an act of terror, assuming that is a level of terrorism, does this go into your, factor it all into your calculus about the safety of the men and women that you sent from your state here to D.C., the ongoing situation as it comes to just keeping the homeland safe?
Well, look, we have to make sure that we're always backing up our Guard, and we have to keep them safe. That's at the top of my mind. And one of the reasons I came to Washington, D.C. for Thanksgiving is to make sure that we're messaging to everyone in the state, but also spending a lot of time with the Guard, that we're not ever going to tolerate these types of acts of violence. So in West Virginia, we're very clear. We're going to support our troops. We're going to make sure that we're doing this the right way. We were supportive of the president's mission to clean up crime in the city, and that mission is going to continue.
Governor, anything else that you would like to add? Anything else that you want to say to the folks here in D.C. tonight?
I would just say that everyone should be praying for Andrew, who is still in a very serious condition, and he's from Berkeley County, and that's in this viewership area. We think that he's another wonderful person. These are two people that were really popular. They were leaders. They were courageous. And my heart goes out to everyone who knows them. They're West Virginia heroes.
Governor Morrisey, thank you so much for being here tonight. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you.